Hello, YouTube. Before I told you about an American admiral in the ranks of the Russian Imperial Navy. Well, today I want to tell you about something different. I want to tell you about the so-called Mad Cossack, the only Russian general in the United States Army. Serfdom in Russia has often been compared to the slave-owning order in the United States. And liberation of the Russian white slaves came even earlier. President Lincoln issued the proclamation of the emancipation of slaves on September 22nd, 1862, a year and a half after the abolition of serfdom by Tsar Alexander II, nicknamed the Liberator, later assassinated by Russian progressive terrorists. However, not everyone knows that one of the generals of the Army of the North American United States who fought against the slave owners was a Russian landowner by origin. In the United States, Ivan Vasilyevich Turchaninov is more remembered as John Basil Turchin. In Russia, Ivan Turchaninov came from a famous dynasty of Cossack nobles of the Donskoy Army Region. After graduating from the St. Petersburg Mikhailovsky Artillery School in 1843, he was enrolled in the Imperial Guard. As part of a Cossack horse artillery battery, he was sent on a campaign against revolutionary Hungary in 1849. During the Crimean War, Ivan Turchaninov was responsible for the topographic survey of the Baltic coast, one of the places where the enemy would potentially land. He furnished his service to the Tsarist army with the rank of colonel. In 1856, the 34-year-old Turchaninov was in Poland, being the chief of staff of one of the companies. By that time, the colonel had already married a young girl named Nadezhda. He personally knew the new emperor, Alexander II. The colonel's career promised many ups, but Turchaninov himself abruptly cut it short by going abroad. At that time, he had already been in correspondence with the famous dissident of that time, Alexander Herzen, for 3 years. Turchaninov acquired sharply oppositional anti-serfdom views. Not waiting for the abolition of serfdom, he chose to emigrate. After seeing Herzen, actually Gerzen in Russian, in London, Ivan Turchaninov sailed to the United States. However, upon arrival, he found himself disappointed with his new country. In a message to Gerzen from Illinois, the colonel wrote that in America there is not a hair's breadth of real freedom, while everything is run not by monarchs as in Europe, but by thundering merchants with dollars. At the same time, he noted that he was reborn in the new place, having outlived the lordly aristocratic prejudices. Before the Civil War, Turchaninov supported himself with odd jobs, using his talent as an artist and trying to write plays. Then he got a job as a topographical engineer for the railway. And as in Russia, fate brought him together with top officials. In particular, Turchaninov met the future President Abraham Lincoln on the fields of the American Civil War. On April 12, 1861, Southerners, dissatisfied with the election of Lincoln, attacked Fort Sumter in South Carolina. Turchaninov, who by that time had become John Turchin, joined the American Army as a volunteer. Retaining the rank of colonel, he accepted the 19th Illinois Infantry Regiment. Then he began to lead a brigade of 4 regiments. In 1862, the relationship between the Russian military person and his immediate superior, General Buell, deteriorated. Being a principled opponent of slavery, Turchin refused to return the African Americans who came to his camp. Buell himself owned slaves, although he fought on the side of the North. In the spring of 1862, Turchin's troops captured the city of Athens, Alabama, without orders from Buell. His soldiers staged outrages in the city. It was called the Rape of Athens. Buell sent Turchin, who was given the nickname the Mad Cossack, to the tribunal. However, the native of Russia received support from President Lincoln himself. The head of the state appointed him to be a brigadier general right during the trial. When Turchin returned to the army, the unexpected happened. On the way to Virginia, a military train carrying soldiers fell into the river. It was in September of 1862. 25 people were killed and hundreds were maimed. The commander and his wife personally cared for the wounded. The following year, Turchin proved himself twice. During the Battle of Chickamauga, he made a heroic breakthrough of the front in the rear of the Southerners. Another Russian volunteer, Alexei Smirnov, who fought in Turchaninov's brigade, died in this battle. And in the Battle of Chattanooga, it was his fighters, his troops, who played a decisive role in the victory of the Northerners. Military service for Turchin ended in the state of Georgia. In the summer of 1864, he suffered a heart attack, forcing him to resign. And then the Russian general returned to Chicago, where he worked in the construction industry and was also responsible for the resettlement of migrants. Through his efforts, a predominantly Polish settlement appeared nearby in southern Illinois. Turchin also wrote memoirs about his actions at the front. The general's mental state deteriorated due to the effect of the heart attack. Turchin asked Alexander II for permission to return to his homeland, but the emperor refused him. And then in the last years he lived in poverty, surrounded by the care of his wife, and he passed away in 1901. The Turchin monument at the Mount City Cemetery in Illinois is being maintained at the expense of the state. That's what I wanted to let you know today about this unordinary person, a brave military person who left imprint in his native Russia and his adopted country of the United States. Thank you for your attention to my work, and I ask that you please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and if you can help my research, you can do so through the links you'll find in the description to this video.